So I'm wondering about if you could talk a little bit. You mentioned when you were describing leadership psychology, Marcus, you
Hmm.
mentioned that quite often organizations will bring you in to address a team member who has burnout or stress in their role. I'm curious as to your perspective about how leaders can either like help prevent that kind of burnout situation or address it when it arises.
So addressing it when it arises is actually too late, because then somebody like that really needs professional help. So preventing it is a far better strategy. And I think it really starts with our ideas about stress. And so this is also one of the things that I actually open with, is our idea about stress. Is stress, because a lot of people believe stress is unhealthy, that too much stress is bad for you. And it turns out from quite a lot of research, Kelly McGonigal is a health psychologist. I really admire her work because she really opened my eyes to a complete different perspective. She shows that the most healthy people are the people with the most stress, not the people with the least stress.
Mm.
And this is amazing. This is amazing because we've all been brought up with this whole idea of stress is bad for you. She finds out that there's actually one thing that makes stress bad for you, and that's the belief that stress is bad for you. That as soon as your conviction is stress is just my body, energizing me, getting me ready to face a challenge, that stress isn't unhealthy at all. In fact, stress makes you healthier.
Hmm.
So just this basic premise in how do you deal as a leader with stress, and how can you help the people you are leading to go to deal better with stress, as far as I'm concerned, is already a major step forward in preventing burnout.
So one way to prevent burnout is to help people have a healthier view of stress. Any other ideas that you have?
Well, the other thing is, I'm sure you saw this one coming, psychological safety. I mean, if people are feeling psychologically safe, this gives them the space to do what they really what they really want to do as well.
Mhm.
Let's face it, most people do not go to work only for the salary. Yes, you need a salary to survive, but most people go to a job because it's fun, because it gives them something, it gives them pleasure. So if we focus on that pleasurable side, burnout becomes a lot less difficult.
That's helpful. Sorry, there's so many comments in the chat. Cynthia
You have to
saying,
multitask.
yeah, so Cynthia saying one of the most, she heard a speaker mention that one of the most, uh, I don't know, most causes of stress and burnout is our expectations. Paul says, when your demands exceed your coping skills, you have a stress reaction.
Sure, sure. And this is again got to do with, do you interpret your stress in terms of anxiety? Oh, I'm not coping. Oh, this is too much for me. I'm never going to get this done. Then we're getting into the anxiety part of our brains. And the anxiety part of our brains works differently to the other side of our brains. And in our anxiety consciousness, we're thinking only about survival. And that has a different effect on us than when we're in a sort of an activated part of our brains. When we're activated, we have a different intention. We love a challenge. We want that challenge, and we want to beat that challenge.
Hmm. So I'm still curious about what you said about if you're burned out, it's already too late. Can you expand on that?
Well, a lot of people say they're burnt out when they're having a little bit of stress. So I'm talking about people who are really burned out. These are people who are exhausted. They're physically exhausted. They're mentally exhausted. They have absolutely they cannot identify themselves with the jobs they're doing anymore. They're feeling sort of alienated from the work they're doing. You're in a bad place. Often people can spend weeks, sometimes months, not even getting out of bed. So I'm talking about burnout is really a serious condition.
Hmm.
being overstressed is still a precursor to that. So that's why I'm saying get in before it gets that far.
That makes sense. Let's see, here's a question from John. But from a management and leadership perspective, the question for burnout isn't whether stress response is normal, but whether the system design supports prevention and mediation.
Sure, I agree. So this is also again where you as a leader step in. How do you make sure that you don't over ask somebody? How do you make sure that somebody can also say no when they have enough? I mean, is the safety there to be able to say to your boss, to your leader, hey, listen, you're just dropping this job on my desk. Oh, I'm sorry, but I've got too much already. Are you allowed to say this to your leader? So it goes both ways. So I'm saying, yes, the leader has responsibility in ensuring that people are challenged to the correct degree, a degree that fits with the person we're talking about. And yes, the employee also has a responsibility to look after themselves. And there, the leader also has a responsibility because they can help somebody look after themselves by creating a psychologically safe space in which that is possible.
Well, yes, and I think it goes back to that skill of observational listening, that you're observing how people are showing up at work. You're watching for those cues about their emotions or what they might be experiencing, and you're bringing that empathy and asking questions so that you know what's happening with people.
As far as I'm concerned, and this is the big difference between observational listening and active listening, is with observational listening, you are really keying onto people's emotion, their state of being. So if somebody is going that route towards too much stress, too much going towards the burnout side, if you are a good observational listener, you see it a long time before they get there.
That makes a lot of sense. So the observation of emotion is the differentiator from active listening.
Sure.
That's really helpful. Janelle says having a support network in place is key, so people recognize and can help you identify when you're in the path to burnout. I didn't have this, so I missed the warning signs.
Sure. And again, you know, that talking about the support network isn't only at home. Your team is also a support network. Your leaders should also be part of your support network, your colleagues.
Definitely so.